Hello, good morning. In today's video, I am going to explain how income and employment is determined in the Keynesian framework. As we know that, according to Keynes, income and employment is determined by the aggregate demand and the aggregate supply. So, the two major components of the Keynesian framework is called the aggregate demand and aggregate supply. That is the major component that is component of aggregate demand are consumption, that is represented by C, investment represented by I, and the government expenditure represented by G. That is C, I and G. The component of aggregate demand are C, I and G. See, Keynes says consumption, that is this consumption is a function of disposable income. That is, as your disposable income increases, consumption also increases, but by less than the increase in income. That is represented by C equals to C0 plus C1 YD. And the YD here is equals to Y minus T. That is called taxes. Fine. Now, investment. According to Keynes, investment is the inverse function of rate of interest. That is, as rate of interest increases, investment decreases. But for time being, we will take the autonomous consumption, that is, it is not affected by the rate of interest. Fine. Now, the government expenditure according to Keynes, G equals to G0. However, G may be affected by your national income, how well the economy is doing. There are the various factors with which this G will be affected. Now, aggregate demand is the sum total of consumption, investment and the government expenditure. So, if we add up all these, then we get the C0 plus C1 YD plus I plus G. I'm just not taking this rate of interest. Fine. So, we can say that aggregate demand is sum total of consumption, investment and the government expenditure. Now, if we would represent this consumption on the aggregate demand and income space, we will have this curve called, here is aggregate demand and here is income. So, see, this I is autonomous, G is also autonomous. So, only factor is, that is, in disposable income will increase in disposable income will increase the consumption. That is, this is called aggregate demand. That is upward sloping. That is, as your income rises, your aggregate demand will increase. Now, the first component we have derived in the Keynesian model. The second component is called the aggregate supply. According to him, whatever the income in an economy is generated is known as the aggregate supply. So if we take aggregate supply on this axis, aggregate supply, and income over here, so income and aggregate supply increases simultaneously by the same amount, because income itself is an aggregate supply. That is, whatever produce is supplied in an economy, and that generates the same proportion of income. So aggregate supply will be 45-degree line. Aggregate supply will be 45-degree line. Fine. So aggregate demand and aggregate supply. As I told you that the point where aggregate demand and aggregate supply meet will determine the level of income in an economy. So this is the income level in an economy, the point where aggregate demand and aggregate supply meet. Now, what if aggregate demand increases? If aggregate demand increases due to any reason, whether it is due to increase in investment, due to increase in government expenditure, due to increase in consumption, for any reason, it will lead to increase in what? Income level in an economy. Fine. So as your aggregate demand increases due to any reason, it will increases the level of income from Y0 to Y1. According to Keynes, this is only possible as long as the unemployed resources is available. So once, according to Keynes, once the full employment is reached, increase in aggregate demand will not lead to increase in output level. Fine. So this increase in level of income is only possible as long as the unemployed resources are available in the economy. So this increase in income due to increase in government expenditure, investment or government expenditure anyway. So in this video, that's all. In the next video, keep watching this video. I'll discuss the another topic. Thank you.